Hi, this is my video for my outline for lesson 3. So this includes chapters 1, 2, 16, and 19. So in chapter 1, it talks about the history of outreach family life education. And it made me think of how I see myself getting involved in strengthening family and marriages. And I definitely see myself teaching in small groups. For example, I see myself being able to teach people that are married in families in like church settings or some way in the community. In the text, it explains family life education focuses on healthy family functioning within a family system's perspective and provides a primarily preventative approach. So that's something that I would take into consideration, obviously, when I go and help those in, like I said, in church settings or in the community. I want to be able to provide skills and knowledge to those families and hope to strengthen their own families. There are many families, it mentioned in the text that there are many families and children that are not being taught the life skills to make them a successful family because of where they live. There is definitely a need for FLE programs in lower income communities. And I definitely have a great compassion for these families. And I hope that as a family life educator that I can go into these communities and these lower income families that may not have the resources to be able to get this education and knowledge themselves, and that I can be an educator to them and I can teach them, important family skills to help better themselves as parents and as children. And I think it's really important to draw upon literature with strong theoretical or research-based foundations, because we're dealing with families' lives and people's lives. And so it's really important that the stuff that we teach them is backed behind research, and it's the latest research. And so we're not teaching these families with incorrect information, because more than likely the stuff that we teach them, they're going to apply to their own lives, or at least that's the hope. So the things that we teach them and that they learn, it needs to be, like I said, backed by research-based information, so that they're not given the wrong information and that we're giving them, things that will benefit them and not harm them because it's incorrect or it's outdated. So that's why it's really important that, especially as I do this practicum project, I'm going to make sure that the information that I look up is going to be, prevalent, and it's going to be, updated and recent, so that I'm providing the best information possible. Right now, I would prefer to be a primary prevention-oriented family life educator, which means I would like to provide the skills and knowledge to people to better their lives in hopes that they could prevent future issues or problems that could potentially come to the family. There's so many families that have issues that they have to work through, and I would love to be a tool for these families to teach them skills that they could have to handle those issues. And so when those problems, because problems are going to come to every family regardless of how prepared they are. So it's just a matter of, I guess, how prepared you are and what skills you have. And that will determine if the problems will become detrimental to the family, or if the problems, will have either a positive or negative outcome. Because like I said, the problems are going to come to every family, and they could have lasting effects on the family. So it just depends on if they have the skills that will determine if they'll have either a positive or negative outcome. Let's see. I believe it's important to be thorough in identifying the problem or need of a target audience, because you need to recognize the skill factors and be able to address them. You need to be able to identify the risk and protective factors and assess the accessibility of the group. Certain problems may only pertain to certain groups in a certain area or certain age group. So that's why it's important to investigate the issues that are in your target audience. So like, for example, if your target audience involves parents, it's important for family life educators to acknowledge this in their workshop, or they run the risk of alienating their audience. So in my personal case, when this practicum, I'm teaching young single adult women, young adults, so ages from like 16 to 25. So obviously, in my workshop that I'll be doing, I'm not going to be talking about raising children, because that wouldn't pertain to them. So that's why it's important to research your target audience and make sure to pay attention to that. Something that I can do to help kind of figure out what my target audience needs are, because every target audience has specific and unique needs. Something I can do is conduct like a survey to the group that I tend to work with. So in my case, I tend to work with the Relief Society in my young single adult ward. So I can write up like a short quiz and ask different questions and list different topics that they may be interested in, and then collect the data and kind of see what's the most common answers or common topics that they feel they would benefit most from learning from. So yeah, these are just a few things that I have learned from my outline. So thanks.